live. I believe I am live. So, right on. Charlie, welcome in the door. So, I wasn't supposed to be live today. Tally, good. I'm glad to see you. I wasn't supposed to go live today, but my schedule had changed. And we'll get into that. Hippie the Hills, how you doing? Right on. Everyone's coming in. Relax and rise. How are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Or is that just me not having a good observation? Now, here's the thing. If you are new to this show or you're over in YouTube or Periscope land, shoot me a comment. Let me know that you're out there. Let me know you're live. You see, I'm restreaming, and that's the only way that I know you're there. And here's the thing. You're more than welcome to comment on the show. I will read your comments if they're in the context of what we're doing. I'm trying to make this show a bit more interactive. I got my regulars of you who definitely post up, and I appreciate it. But please feel free to join in the conversation. If you're watching an archive of this video, hit subscribe, share with your friends, leave me a comment, hit that like button. That allows other people to find the show. I am Swinger69. Well, hello to you too. Tally says I'm having a good hair day. Well, that's what's important, isn't it? You see, when I'm having a good hair day, I'm having a good show. Estefan, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. And Charlie says, yes, I am having a good hair day. Well, thank you guys very much. So let's talk. Here's the situation. So I thought I had a meeting today, but the date was changed and it was actually Monday. And when I woke up, I realized that I didn't have the meeting, but I told you guys that I wouldn't be live today. And you've also have gotten used to me not being live on Thursday due to this marketing meeting. Here's the thing. I noticed yesterday that today is show 90. We're almost at 100, guys. Do you believe this? So it is with being on that number, 89, that made me want to hit 90. Also, this is now routine. This is now habit. At 90 episodes, without a meeting, I was compelled to do it because, well, that's what I do. I hang out with you guys for a half an hour. And without the meeting, I was like, well, you don't have to go live because you told everybody that you were having a meeting, but there was no meeting. You see, this is how motivation works. When people ask me, how are you so motivated to do so much stuff? Now, I even mentioned this on the podcast last week with Stan Beecham, that several people have called me a overachiever. I find that hilarious because I know overachievers, and I'm certainly not one of them. However, when you build productive habits and you put in the time to build routines, well, then you will find yourself being productive. And to somebody who doesn't have those habits, who don't have those routines, you may seem like an overachiever because they're just things that you do. Every morning I wake up, I throw on coffee, I throw on a podcast, and I start working out. I can't not do that. That's part of routine. That is habit. It's just something that I do. I don't think of my day not doing that. If you ask me, what does a perfect day look like? That's how it starts. Estefan says, started intermediate fasting for the next month. Going to be a little grumpy the next couple mornings. Well, I'll tell you, Estefan. So I intermediate fast. I've done it to where my last meal is usually about 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock in the morning. And getting to that, I realized that I felt like I was hungry a lot. And there was a point made by Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL, great podcast, Discipline Equals Freedom is his book. And he says you're not hungry. You just have a habit of eating at certain times and certain amount of times. And he's right. Once you break that habit, you can reset it to be what you want. Now it is difficult. You probably will be a bit grumpy, but that's just how that works. So good luck with you, buddy, on that. And it's totally possible. You can do it. So that's how I'm motivated. Oh, JM has joined the room. And JM's got some advice for you, Estefan. He says, if it's best for you, give it 2 or 3 days and you'll be good. I agree. To me, that whole intermediate period was about just getting used to that a couple of weeks. But then it just becomes what I was doing, and it was totally normal. But I certainly was grumpy about it as well. So good on you. And thank you, JM, for the advice there. So that's how, for me, yeah, I got that, buddy. So that's how motivation works for me. It's something that is built. You just don't go find it. You add to it one little thing every time that you get comfortable with another part of the routine, and you stack them. Relax and Rise says, I did intermittent fasting for 4 months and it gets easier. I went from 210 to 180. Congratulations to you, Relax and Rise. I bet that feels damn good. See, here's the thing. If you're watching the show and you're not really into self-development, or it's new to you, or you're trying to get better with it, it is that sort of mindset and work that people want confidence, and they're always asking how to build it. If you set these small goals in which you have to find discipline within yourself to reach them, confidence comes in droves. And the thing about confidence is, as difficult as it might be to build, it's quite easy to destroy. So if you put in all this work and you reach these goals and then you just go out and binge eat for a week, well, then you've gained all the weight back and you've wrecked the confidence that you built in yourself, and you end up getting frustrated. So anyway, today makes episode 90. It's now a habit. And waking up today, realizing that I didn't have a meeting, all I wanted to do was go live. And I owe that motivation and that excitement to you guys. You guys make this fun. When you guys comment, when you guys give me an animal hearts, when that's what makes this rad. And then I'm going to move on to my next bit for today. And so my next bit comes from a comment on YouTube. And he says he has a question about how yesterday I had mentioned that I had been deleting a lot of friends off social media just because I'm tired of seeing their gloom and doom posts. Excuse me. And I have a lot to say that, but he asked me this question. I'm going to read it to you guys. And for those of you who've been viewing this show for quite a while, you're going to know the answer to this. But for you noobs, we'll make sure we get that. So it says, hi, Johnny. With all your self-development training, I wonder why you let others control your emotions on your news feed. Ha, ha. Well, we'll get to that. You are in control of your emotions. They are not in control of your emotions, but you delete them and then you rant. You let them control you. I wonder why you glance or read it alternatively and pass it by. Why don't you just glance at it and pass it by? My friends and family, who I love dearly, may not agree with me 24 hours a day on social media, but no problem. I don't let them control my emotions. But I don't want to delete them because I don't agree with them. It's just computer screen. But we'll get to that. It's their stuff, not mine. I watch your show and listen to your podcast every day and enjoy your content. Mahalo from Hawaii. Well, aloha to you in Hawaii. And let me answer your question. And I answered it on YouTube, but I wanted to give you a more nuanced, drawn out answer because this is very important. Oh, Tushar01 says, hey man, love your podcast, love from India. Well, you can join in with our friend Hippie the Hills, who is also watching from India. Hippie, you have a friend here from India. I heard it's quite a small country. Guys probably know each other. All right, so let's go through this piece by piece. There's a lot to unpack here. With all your self-development, I wonder why you let others control your emotions. You are in control of your emotions. They are not in control, but you deleted them and ranted. It's just a computer screen. Why don't you just glance at them and let them roll by? Whew, all right, so let's go on. First, now in my response, I mentioned, are you in marketing or psychology, human behavior? Because if you understood marketing or psychology, you would understand that as a human being, you are driven by your emotions. Not only are you driven by your emotions, most of the leading around that your emotions do for you is subconscious, meaning you are not conscious of these emotions. Because you're not aware of these emotions, you do not understand how they make you feel unless you're in the practice of paying attention to them. Now, with that, I understand that. And I have done a social media audit too, and JM says you can unfollow them so you just won't see them in your feed and you can still be friends with them. Yes, I have done that. And I have done that to a lot of people. People like family, like friends, who I don't want to see their posts, they kind of bring me down, but yet I wouldn't want to detach myself from them. Absolutely, 100%. You are incorrect in the fact that I would do that with people I don't agree with. Now, here is the difference between people I don't agree with and just people posting toxic bile that I'm aware has a direct effect on my emotions. And because I am mindful, because I understand how our emotions affect our body language and our worldview, and how most of those feelings can be held subconsciously, I do want to be in control of my emotions, and I do want to be careful of what I consume, because if you consume bile and garbage and trash, you're going to feel like garbage and trash. So when people are posting bile or just toxic behavior that I wouldn't tolerate as a friend, well, then I'm not going to tolerate it on my page. And if you are somebody who's just posting bile and trash and garbage and disparaging people or dehumanizing people, I don't want you in my life. And if I don't want you in my life, I don't want that kind of stuff on my newsfeed. Why are comments turned off? I don't understand what you mean, John O'Keefe. What are you referring to? I will look into that. Are you referring to YouTube? So there's the difference. And I have tons of friends in my newsfeed that I don't agree with. And they could post whatever they like. And I'm totally, and if it's annoying, I'll unfollow it. So I am still friends and I won't have to see it in my feed. However, if it crosses the line where it dehumanizes people or it's supporting violence, I don't want that kind of stuff around me, nor do I want it in friends, nor do I want it in on my feed. John O'Keefe says, thanks for posting, but what's up? We discuss. Some trash talk is good. Of course some trash talk is good. I'm kind of not sure. I love you anyway. Well, thank you very much. So those are my points on that. So two, aloha from Hawaii. Thank you for the comment, and that's the difference. I'm not going to tolerate that sort of behavior, especially if you're dehumanizing people. I understand what that leads to. You might, as I can understand how somebody might think that they're edgy and they're causing a reaction. You see, we're still in this experiment with social media. We're only we're rolling in a little over 15 years with it. And some of the platforms weren't even invented in 15 years. Like we're like a full decade into this experiment that is social media. You have to understand. Let me paint this picture for you. I was just talking with my neighbor about this. I don't think you guys, or some of you guys might be acknowledged, have this knowledge. Some of you might not. When the printing press was developed, it caused mass social panic. You have to understand that it had the printing press was a revolution in information that was able now to provide the people that they did not have any reach towards in the past. And in fact, let's speak specifically. The Bible in and itself and any religious text was held by religious scholars who were then able to interpret it for the layman so that they would know what it meant. Now, if the religious scholars were the only ones who had the knowledge to be able to interpret what the Bible said, and it was a moral code, well, don't you think they use that to their advantage to control their societies? Yeah. So when the printing press was invented and it started to do its job, it had made information readily available for anyone who could read. And it also allowed people to begin to learn how to read at alarming rates. So there was a mass panic. And let's talk about one story. I brought this up a few weeks ago about the cages in Munster, Germany. Charlie knows this story, where it was because of the printing press and the Bible that now everyone had an opportunity to be able to interpret the Bible the way they see fit for their society and for what they wanted to do. So now there was a split, and it kept splitting to all these Christian denominations, Lutheran and Protestant, and I don't know all the ones for that specific time, but it kept splitting because now everyone had an opportunity to interpret for themselves. And those who wanted to use it to wield power, the psychopaths, the narcissistic, with power comes corruption. So they did. John O'Keefe says he was raised Catholic. Yeah, it's all part of it. So he says, I support all net info. Yes, I do too. But my point in that is we're still trying to figure out this whole thing. And the printing press itself caused mass chaos. So what we're dealing with in this moment, and it just so happens that there's a global pandemic you can connect those dots if you like. The truth is, we have a social media experiment that is going on in which certain ideas are being propagated and others are not. Others are being censored. So it's obvious that the powers that be, whoever you might want to say they are, favor some ideas over others. On top of a global pandemic, when everyone's stuck in their house, just putting their face into this media. So, of course, we're going to have this destabilization of society as we work through this. Now, let's just hope the whole thing doesn't turn into the chaos that the story of the cages in Munster, Germany had caused. And if you want to learn about what that was and the chaos that was wrapped up in the printing press and Martin Luther tacking his note on the church door about the Bible's interpretation, there is an amazing podcast by Dan Carlin, Hardcore History, called Prophets of Doom. And he puts out the whole story. It's amazing. Jam says Plandemic 2 just came out and it's awesome. I haven't seen Plandemic 1, but I will look into that. I'm trying to keep the information that I'm being fed to a minimum, JM. So I'll wait and see what the reviews are and see what the folks that I enjoy following, see what they have to say about it. But you say it's great, so I'll look into that. John O'Keefe says, can we talk riots? People are being hurt. I'm not a cop guy. People being hurt is bad. I support what you do, and it is amazing. Well, thank you very much. Well, we're coming to our close, John, and I have some other topics on my schedule that I need to get to today. But we can certainly talk about some riots sometime soon. I'm also trying not to get in trouble here about what I say, but I also, if you're going to ask me to talk about riots, you should ask me. You should give me a more specific so I can zoom in on it. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to leave you guys on. Esteban says, if someone says some dehumanizing, violent things now, if there is a line of sticking around, forgive them and hope they grow and change, realize the past view, bad. Do you want me to go to YouTube and crack some skulls? I don't think so, Tally. I think we're all good. John O'Keefe and JM are quite rad. They're just enjoying the show. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Tally. So here's what I want to leave you guys on. So lately there's two things do you guys consider Netflix mainstream television now? I do. I see it as propaganda, and they're certainly making television for a certain, with certain ideas embedded in them. I don't watch the garbage. I don't own a Netflix account. I only see what people what popular culture is sucked into, and today it's all about the advertisement for this show called Cuties, which I'll get into in a moment. JM is asking which hardcore history episode was I recommending. It's called Prophets of Doom, JM. Prophets of Doom. It's about the cages of Munster, Germany. It's a one episode, but it's intense. It is intense. And if you check it out, I'd love to hear what you think about it, my friend. So I saw a clip on Netflix, like their trailer for this thing, because everyone's talking about it, and it was a bunch of 11-year-old girls who are joining twerk routine, and I found it pretty cringe. So here's what I wanted to say about that. In growing up, I'm 46, as you guys know. Yeah, 11-year-olds twerking. It's a little bit off-putting, to say the least. And my point in this is, when I grew up at 46 years old, the edgy stuff that was on television was the grunge movement, and a lot of dismayed, disenfranchised, rebellious youth. Well, if you go back through popular culture of history, you're always going to see despondent, rebellious teenagers, from Little Richard to the Elvis Presley to Johnny Cash to Kurt Cobain to, what the hell's the girl with green hair now? Billie Eilish. Oh my God, don't get me started. Despondent, troubled, disengaged, disenfranchised youth. That's fine. I could deal with that all day. 16-year-old girls who are upset with society, who want to drop out, wear baggy clothes, and dye their hair green and look miserable. Sure, I had that too. We had Kurt Cobain, who was 20-something rock and roller, who had depression and who was bagging on society, and he had dropped out, and he was a heroin addict and blew his head off. I mean, that's just popular culture in and itself. You're always going to have a despondent, checked out population of teens who are trying to deal with puberty, I guess. But to drag in 11-year-old girls into the popular stripper culture that is going on, and let's be honest, it's stripper culture. Twerking is stripping. And I live in Los Angeles. I have plenty of friends in the adult entertainment industry. And I go on about what you do. I am not here to rag on adults and what they choose to do as their vocation or career or whatever. That's on them. I don't have to like it. I don't have to watch it. I don't have to put my kids in front of it. I don't have kids. I just got animals. So he's not too thrilled about this show either. In fact, he was the one bitching to me about it. But do we have to now? It was bad. If these girls were 15, 16 years old, it's still, I can understand everyone's dismay and being upset, but do we gotta go to preteen girls now? Do we gotta get them at 11 years old? Come on. I mean, all right, John O'Keefe. We got Clinton jokes going on over in YouTube. Well, imagine that. Oh, I got it, buddy. Yeah, we can make all the Clinton jokes in the world. That's low-hanging fruit. I'm not going there, my friend. Anyway, but even seeing the picture that the poster, the promotional poster for this that is going everywhere, I was like, it's just, this is where we are. And now, right, it's not just despondent teenagers. It's now, here's the thing. When you get into being a teenager, your ideas are finally, you're separating yourself. You're looking about for who you are. And and I'm not a parent, but I can understand. And I would think that every parent wants to cherish their time with their little one for as long as they possibly can to develop their children, to put them on the right path, to help them install the right thought processes and good from wrong, and to put them on a good path so that when they do start to rebel or they become more independent, that they have a good head on their shoulders and they're able to go in the world they're able to go in the world in a good trajectory where that parent does not have to stay up every night worrying. And now we're going to create content, propaganda to children that are 11. I mean, parents are already losing their children earlier at age to the devices that are extremely addictive, that prey on children's attention already. And now we're creating edgy pop culture content that is hypersexualized to influence children at 11 years old. So I'm bringing this up because I don't dig it. And I think that you all should think about it as well. It's just messed up. Hennison Fernandez says, amen to that. Well, thank you. Thank you. Heinzen? Is that Heinzen? John O'Keefe says, that's sick. Great point. Yeah, man. Listen, I have been working in self-development for close to 20 years. I understand that you become what you consume. I also understand that you're heavily influenced by what you consume and what is around you. As a human being, you are a herd animal, and you have to check in to social norms by what you're influenced by, what you're bringing in, who you're hanging around. These all play a large degree in how you think and how you feel and how you maneuver through the world. I understand dancing is an art form. And there's plenty of wonderful dancing and as an art that many people can just be utterly fascinated by and influenced by. The stripper stuff and the twerking stuff, are we talking about, Bruce says just when we're talking about WAP. No, we're not talking about WAP. We're talking about the show Cuties that's on Netflix that everyone has been upset about. So that's my thing. And to go on with WAP, listen, those ladies, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want. They're adults. I don't have any problem with that kind of stuff. I have a problem with who things are marketed to. And Cuties is directly marketed to young girls. And here's the other thing. Are young girls in the Cardi B? Yeah. This is why we have a show that is dedicated to twerking. It's influenced by Cardi B. And that stripper culture. It's funny. I even feel weird talking about it as a 46-year-old white guy. I don't even like saying that. But it's the obvious point, right? And that I'm speaking about these things. But my point being is, listen, you're an adult. You can make whatever content you want. You can make whatever music you want. As a parent, you have an obligation to give your children the best upbringing for them to flourish and thrive in the world. And you have your work cut out for you when your competition in delivering those messages is Netflix rolling out shows like Cuties and the technology that is at hand that is flooding these children with these messages. So good luck and and if there's anything that the AOC can do to help you guys out, let us know. John O'Keefe says Cardi B is marketing fool like Trump. Yeah, well, they're both good at what they do, aren't they? Love the doll behind him. Who? Animal? That's my man. I'm here late. Somebody's asking if it's a twerking show. Lindsay Marie says, hopefully it backfires. Not a good message for kids. I agree. And here's the thing. Here's one point on this, Lindsay, and I'm going to head out of here. So I think it is backfiring. Even 4chan, who I'm not all that familiar with it, other than it has made its mark on the world for being offensive. Even as a edgy, offensive website and forum, they're even having a hard time with it. So much so that the 4chan is striking back. Here's my point in this, Lindsay. I think so many of these people, they sit in their little bubbles and they talk about the next television show and how it could be edgy and ride a wave of popular culture and how to ride these waves of culture to make money. The thing that they don't think about, Lindsay, is they don't think about its impact. They have marketing forums and test groups where they can test these waves of the content, but they never think about, is this too edgy? Because edgy is just part of what they do, because they know that edgy brings eyes, it brings attention. And edgy's fine. As I said, you want to make stuff for despondent, rebellious teenagers, that's one thing. 11-year-old girls, I'm just not into it. So anyway, I'm going to head out. Thank you, guys. Relax and rise. I'm heading into work. Johnny, see you later. Drink water. Well, thank you very much. Love you all. I'm going to head out. See you guys. Thank you all. They just want the bucks. They don't realize they're forming and shaping the future. That's exactly right.